Okay, y'all. I'm gonna be watching a video. Here, go here. Okay. To be beautiful, mom makes her ugly. And fat. Her cancer to avoid boys. Y'all, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The show jumps back to 1991 in Lafourche Parish, Louisiana. Dee Dee is giving birth to her daughter Gypsy in the hospital.
Wait, hold up.
The show jumps back to 1991 in Lafourche Parish,
1991?
Louisiana. Dee Dee is giving birth to her daughter Gypsy in the hospital. The doctors inform that there is a problem with the umbilical cord, but then they manage to cut it out. It takes a second, but then the baby finally wails, and the doctors inform Dee Dee that her baby is alive and healthy. Afterward, Dee Dee's mother, Emma, comes to see her newborn granddaughter. It's easy to notice that the two have issues centering on power and control. Dee Dee reluctantly hands over her daughter to her mother while Emma urges the nurse to give a bath to the baby. Skipping back to 2015, Nick and Gypsy are hurrying their way out in a cab and fleeing the crime scene, while Gypsy sadly looks back at her mother's house one last time. There's no remorse on Nick's face. The two lovers then head off together to the motel where Nick was previously staying. Gypsy and Nick hang out in the motel room. They enjoy the brownies they took from the house. Gypsy dresses up in her wig and records Nick on her camera. After they get intimate, jumping back to 1991, Emma constantly chastises her daughter Dee Dee about her abilities as a new mom. Dee Dee is scared that her daughter is sick. She wants to see a doctor, but Emma assures her nothing is wrong with the baby. At the hospital, the doctor informs them that Gypsy is smaller than she should be at 2 months old. Although it isn't uncommon, the doctor then tells them he will send some supplements for the baby.
Y'all, it's just being short. It's just your size. It's just your size. I was small at 2 months. But I ain't gonna show the freaking picture. Because I'm like 4'2" right now. And that's my size, 4'2". Anyways, moving on.
And Dee Dee has to feed her more to gain weight. Meanwhile, Emma keeps trying to
Look
control
at that
Dee even at the
double
hospital,
chin. Oh.
which only shows that Dee
Look at
grew
that
up to be
double
exactly
chin.
like her mother later in life. In the next scene, Dee Dee's cousin Janet and her 2 daughters visit her. Janet also lectures on how Dee Dee doesn't need to see a doctor, and she's just being overprotective of her baby. In the
being
present,
too
that is 2015,
overprotected.
Nick and Gypsy go to dinner for breakfast after checking out of their motel room. As they order their food, 2 police officers enter the diner, and Gypsy starts to panic. She suddenly remembers that they still have the knife with them. Nick assures them he will take care of it, but Gypsy fumbles and accidentally drops her anxiety pills. One of the officers notices it, picks it up, and gives it back to her before realizing that the medication was named after Claudinia Blanchard, Dee Dee's real name. Thankfully, the officer does not notice anything suspicious and walks away. The couple then decides to mail the knife to themselves in Wisconsin to get rid of it later and avoid security checks in the bus station. The show cuts to 1993, and Dee Dee is filming Gypsy, but she is so focused on her daughter that she doesn't hear the knock on the door. It turns out that the police have come to arrest Dee Dee for felony check fraud. As the police handcuff Dee Dee, Emma brings Gypsy into the room to watch her mom taken away by the police. Gypsy cries and requests her mom not to let her daughter see her in such a shameful condition. In the courtroom, Dee Dee is sentenced to 6 months in jail for forging checks. She then tries to say goodbye to Gypsy, but Emma won't let her.
Yo, that's
Dee Dee yells
crazy.
that Emma could have raised the money for her bond. As she's pulled from the room, Dee Dee begs her mother to follow the doctor's schedule to care for Gypsy. Back in the present, Nick and Gypsy get to the bus station for Wisconsin only to find out that Nick didn't book a ticket for Gypsy. Since there are no more seats on that day's bus, they book 2 tickets for another bus which is only available after 2 days. After 4 months, young Dee Dee gets released from jail. When she arrives home, her daughter doesn't immediately remember her. Instead, she starts to cry. Dee Dee then gets mad at Emma because, according to the schedule, Gypsy should be sleeping right now instead of playing outside. Emma says that her granddaughter is at least happy with her. Later, Dee Dee is worried that Gypsy is sick, despite Emma saying Gypsy is fine. She says that Gypsy is clearly ill, and Emma is actually trying to prove that she's a better mom than Dee Dee is. Emma just smiles and says she could have told the cops that Dee Dee wasn't there when they came looking for her, but she knew Dee Dee needed to learn a lesson. She then wickedly says that Gypsy was better with her than Dee Dee from the day she was born. Nick is busy enjoying.
Yo, I just need to pause this because by the window is literally creeping me out so bad, bro. Like, there's 2 windows where I'm at. I can't run.
violent movie at the motel. While Gypsy isn't impressed, neither does she enjoy their physical intimacy later. She starts to realize.
Hold on. Y'all, I'll do another part. I'll do a part 2 after this time runs out. Okay.
What she's done to get away from her mother was not only morally wrong, but also regrets running away with Nick as he's utterly dull and a true sociopath. Skipping back to 1997, Emma's health is deteriorating. Dee Dee seems worried about her, but Emma refuses to go to the hospital. Later, a doctor tells Dee Dee that her mother's tolerance to pain isn't working anymore, and reveals that Emma only has a few days to live. In the next scene, Emma struggles to breathe while Dee Dee tearfully tells her mom that she loves her and knows Emma always tried her best. But Emma replies that Dee Dee made it impossible for her to live as she takes her last breath. The following day, Gypsy sneaks outside and plays on the trampoline with her cousins. Unfortunately, she falls off and hits the ground hard. She's barely moving as her mother holds her. When Gypsy gets out of the hospital and returns home, it is the first time we see her sit in a wheelchair. Dee Dee urges her to use it until she's strong enough, although it is clear that Gypsy's legs are fine. Fast forward to 2015. Gypsy and Nick head off further on their road trip to Wisconsin. Nick's mom Kathy picks them up when they get to the bus stop. As they drive, Kathy and Gypsy talk, and it turns out Nick has told his family that Gypsy and her mom were homeless. Kathy starts asking about her mom, prompting Gypsy to have flashbacks. Once at the house, Gypsy meets Kathy's boyfriend Vance and gets a brief tour of their home. Gypsy slowly realizes that her Prince Charming's home isn't what she had imagined. The family doesn't have any food in their fridge. She's upset by how rude and weird his parents are. She's shocked when they don't have any medicine, even Pepto-Bismol. Her disappointment continues when Nick shows her his cluttered room. Afterwards, Gypsy and Nick manage to pull a trick in the supermarket and steal some food. Back at the house, Kathy again brings up Gypsy's mom, which starts affecting Gypsy. She starts to feel bad for leaving her mother dead, where nobody will find her for a long time. She abruptly walks out after having a couple of flashbacks from the day of the murder. Nick follows her, and Gypsy tearfully suggests that they make sure her mom's body is found, saying someone else killed her. Once her mom's body is out, they can live in her old house together. Nick then comes up with an idea to post a message to the shared Gypsy and Dee Dee Facebook page. This will prompt somebody to go to the house and stumble
I
onto
want to
the
watch
corpse.
a different
The
one.
couple then write a post saying, "That guy is dead," thinking that is exactly what a real murderer would say. The show quickly cuts to Lacey, who is home after her long day at work. She immediately sees the post and calls her mother, Mel. Gypsy and Nick aren't convinced that many people have seen the post, so they want to grab people's attention. Gypsy then writes another post claiming how the murderer even raped Dee Dee's daughter, but she forgets to turn off the laptop's location. Back at Dee Dee's home, Mel and Lacey call out for her, but there is no response. Lacey then decides to call the cops. Cops are now searching Dee Dee's home. While in Wisconsin, Nick and Gypsy prepare for dinner. Just then, the package with the knife they had sent to themselves arrives, and Vance gives it to Gypsy. Gypsy starts to panic again and wants to get rid of the murder weapon right away, but Nick doesn't see the need to rush as he says it's too dark outside. Gypsy realizes he's utterly clueless and continues to pester about their happily ever after not materializing. Nick's mom interrupts their brief argument, and the two settle for a while. Meanwhile, the cops have tracked the location of the Facebook posts to Big Bend, Wisconsin. The SWAT team and the sheriff surround Nick's house later that night. Vance and Kathy come out with their hands up while Nick and Gypsy hide in the armoire. The cops soon have the two lovers in custody. Before they're taken away, Nick and Gypsy agree that they did the right thing, so they'll just tell the police the truth. Next, the couple is interviewed in the police station. One of the detectives, Gypsy, a few questions, wondering if she was involved in the murder. Gypsy denies her involvement. She even pretends that she didn't know her mother was dead. Her act continues as she breaks down in tears, saying she has always loved her mom. The detective can tell she's lying, though. Meanwhile, Nick is opening up the truth. He admits to stabbing Dee Dee, saying he did it for him and Gypsy to live happily together. He even confides that Gypsy was the one who asked him to kill her mother. Nick also shares about having multiple personalities and how he hears voices in his head. It turns out that he's also still under the delusion that he and Gypsy will make a family together. Unaware he'll be going to prison, the officer then starts asking Nick further questions. Given his background of having mental issues, she questions if he had sex with Dee Dee's dead body, to which Nick replies he doesn't like necrophilia. Elsewhere, Nick's mother, Kathy, explains that Nick has a history of mental illness, and his mental age will always be around the age of 15 or 16. She adds that she was shocked to see Gypsy act so casual after having her own mother killed. She then calls Gypsy a beast, as she is taken aback by Gypsy's lack of emotion. Kathy also laments that her son's mental problems make it hard for him to fully understand what he was doing. The series then shows Dee Dee's face as her corpse lies in the morgue. Gypsy and Nick given their fingerprints and mugshots. In the meantime, Mel and Lacey watch a press conference in which the local sheriff gives an update on the investigation. He shares that they have found Gypsy, and she is safe, which is a relief to Lacey and Mel. But they're confused when he continues and says that things are not always as they appear.
No, it's
Later,
almost done.
they see Gypsy walking on her 2 feet into the court for her prosecution as Mel and Lacey look on from home, completely stunned. Gypsy is informed that she's facing.
But y'all just go to part 2. Yeah, there's just gonna be another video. This one's a video, no shorts, okay? And the next we're gonna watch this one. ABC News. I'm gonna watch ABC News. The one on below, whatever, you'll see.
Life in prison, or even the death penalty for conspiring her mother's murder. Upon hearing this, she breaks down in tears, realizing she will never have her happily ever after. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel grow. Don't forget to watch